What's going on, Hoodlum gang? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Hoodie from the Hood, aka your friend from that big O N, and I'm back at y'all with another video. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel and you want to become a member of the Hoodlum gang, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man. It's free. Go ahead and hit that like button if you like the content. Leave me a comment below, share the video, hit that notification bell, and follow me on IG at Hoodie from the Hood. Now, this is something else that came across my desk yesterday while I was surfing the YouTube metaverse, and I had already did a video on this a few months back. I gave my opinion on 50-50 yards, and I don't know, I'm only one person, but I felt like I made it clear how certain individuals feel, myself and maybe how other people might feel about 50-50 yards. So maybe a month ago or a few weeks ago, I seen Cartoon, it had to be a few weeks ago, I seen Cartoon make a video about Jap 5 being on the 50-50 yard. Well, I actually didn't see it. I had seen it pop up. I never clicked on it. Reason why I never clicked on it is because I kinda knew, Cartoon, you could tell he got a big heart. He love hard, and when he loves something, he gonna go hard for it, regardless, right or wrong. I try not to have that biasness in me, because people will start to not take your opinion on certain matters as serious because they know that you might not keep it 100% clean. So I kind of figured that he was gonna do what he did in the video, and that's ride for his stepson. Nothing wrong with that. It just, in the process, well, let me rewind. The reason I saw this is because I seen that Dubs reacted to what Cartoon said. And I already knew he was going to do what he did too. Now, basically, in the video, Cartoon said that people was getting at him in his comments about Jap being on the 50-50 yard and how he felt about that. So he goes into explaining that he didn't really know what a 50-50 yard was. You got to think Cartoon did a long time out in Alabama. He hadn't really been in the California corrections since 1996, I believe. I think he got out, and I think he might have been out for a few hours, maybe not even 24. He went out there, did what he did, and ended up getting all that time. So all of this is new to him as far as 50-50 yards and all that. Even S&Y yards, they may have had one back then when he was in the California State Prison. So he said from what he gathered and from what people was telling him, that people was putting the Mexican politics and whites, they was applying that to black politics, and he was saying that don't go. Dubs did a reaction to it, and I already knew what he was going. I already knew when I heard it. I already knew he was going to pause it right there, because this is what he was looking for. This is so, and I don't got no problem with Dubs. Y'all know me and him was straight in the past. I still don't got no problem with him. I did fall back, and the reason why I fell back has nothing to do with his status in his hood or nothing like that. And this gonna be the first time he hear this. I fell back off of him because when when Snoopy Snitch Ass was slandering my name based on what Cowboy told him about that little encounter when he never brought his ass outside and we never even seen each other face to face, I felt like Dubs could have spoke up on my behalf, because you know that it didn't happen like that. And you pulled up and we was outside having a good time, not even worried about no Cowboy. I felt like he could have spoke up on that, and he didn't. He stayed silent. Yeah, I get it. You want to stay out of it, but come on, homie. They slandering my character, saying like, making it seem like this dude pressed me or I ran or some weird ass shit. And he didn't say nothing. So I fell back from him based on that. But basically, he paused it right where I knew he was going to pause it. Right when Cartoon said, those are Mexican politics, not black politics. Like I said, Cartoon got such a big heart and he loves hard. So he loves Jap and he loves black people. But inadvertently threw the blacks under the bus by saying those are not our politics, because the essays and the whites and the North Daniels is pretty much tripping on them 50-50 yards because they consider everything over there trash, whether they dropped out of a gang due to their foul politics. God, a lot of shit they do is foul, I feel like, but who am I? They got a lot of good stuff that they do, but they got a lot of foul stuff, and people get crossed up. Dubs even tell you that. Anybody that was a part of those cars would tell you that people get crossed up for no reason. Good people, because they politics. So they'll end up on that yard. Then you got people who got foul charges, people who told, all of that. So when you say that that's only their politics, it makes it seem like, and people already be like, oh, blacks don't check paperwork, blacks don't care about this, don't care about that. So when you say that that's their politics, you're stamping what they're saying about us not checking paperwork or having people with foul charges on the yard. You're saying that they trip off that and we accept that. That's how it came across. That might have not been how he meant it. That's how it came across when you say that's their politics. They're not the only ones who trip on people who got crimes against women or kids or snitching. Last time I checked, we didn't accept that either. So I don't know where he got that was their politics from, but that's not true. That's not true. Cartoon know that. Cartoon ain't cool with nobody that got a snitch jacket or a R on their jacket or a pedophile. He not cool with that. So I have zero idea why he said that, but he said that. Let's get back to Dubs. Dubs paused it right there. He even let off the little gunshot. See, this was his way of saying, he said it, not me. They own people said it. He kept on reiterating how Cartoon is an OG Crip and a real one, which he is. He kept on reiterating that to let his followers know, I didn't have to say it. Nobody from Raza had to say it. He's saying it. That was his whole point in reacting to it, which is really like throwing a little shade. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at least that's how I took it. Like, that's like little lugs, little shots being fired. Like, and he, like I said, he paused it and he put the shot sound effects at that part. So you can't tell me that's not shots being fired at the blacks. Go watch it. So he started bringing up Tehachapi and how it was no good for the Northerners and the whites and the Southerners, but the blacks didn't have that policy. Now, I don't know. I do know that Tehachapi has been named a bad prison for a long time. I've never met anyone who came from Tehachapi, at least not in my time going to prison. Like, nobody was like, hey, nigga, I just came from Tehachapi. Maybe back in the day, some older homies was there, but in my time, going through the system, I don't know, not one black that had been to Tehachapi. That's just me. And maybe because all those yards was already flipped by the time I came into the system. But I don't know why their policy on that prison was like that. Sometimes they have reasons for why they do what they do, and we might not necessarily agree. They don't always necessarily agree with each other, because if I'm not mistaken, and you know, I ain't never been to Folsom or nothing like that, but I think it was like one of those yards was not good, I believe, for the whites. I could be wrong. I think it was just for the whites, but the Southerners and everybody else, it was good to them. I could be wrong. Jamestown was not good for the North Daniels. They had a curfew. They had to get off within 3 days. Everybody knew this, but it was good for the blacks, the whites, and the Southerners. So just because one faction says this yard is not good, doesn't mean that it makes it not good for everybody else. Everybody has their own particular reasons to why. So you can kind of say that Jamestown was a 50-50 yard because the North Daniels wasn't active. Then on the other yard, you had the Bulldogs. And I don't know their status, if they was active or not. They used to be over there barking and shit from what I heard. That sounded like a gang chant to me. I don't know. But like I said, just because it's not cool for one faction doesn't mean, like I said, I don't know about Tehachapi, but I'm just saying overall, just because something ain't cool for you don't mean it's not cool for the other people. People have different politics. They get crossed up and washed up all the time over the smallest shit. This is why people be like, oh, Dubs is a dropout, Gunner's a dropout, all these people is dropouts. Bro, they could have been crossed up for the smallest shit. The Northerners have a no red on red. They can't fight each other. They'll get deemed no good for that, for a fade. Niggas fight each other all the time. So why would I look at him, and I ain't talking about nobody in particular, I'm just saying, why would I look at a Northerner who probably didn't like the way something was going and got off like a man? He got off where he was mad at, and then they deem him no good. And then I'm supposed to say he no good. When niggas fight each other all the time. That's not my politics. That's what people, you out-of-state weirdos, that's what y'all don't understand when y'all be like, oh, you talk to this guy and this guy. Bro, you don't know why he fell out of favor. Everybody be like, oh, if you went to that yard, you had to debrief. That may have been true once upon a time, especially if you was a part of a certain type of organization. But if you're just a regular dude, that don't mean you got to debrief. Motherfuckers PC up in the county now. I fear for my life and go to PC from the county. You ain't even got to debrief. Tell them you scared. Oh, I got enemies. Oh, I can't be over here with such and such. And they'll let you PC up right there. And then you go to the pen and already be PC. So all that old stuff, how it used to be, that might have been true. But nowadays, that don't necessarily mean that a motherfucker snitched. Yeah, he went to that yard. If you want to call him trash because he was on that yard, that's one thing. But to say everybody over there is a snitch is just not true. And that don't mean that everybody nigga won't bust your head still. But can he bust 200 motherfuckers' heads? You can't go against the masses. You're not Superman. But if he catch you individually, he might beat your ass or stab the shit out of you. I'm just saying, man. Now, here's the thing about the 50-50 yards. Everybody press differently, homie. That's the thing about blacks, homie. We are forced to ride together because of our race, not because we're under some prison gang or some type of structural rules. We're all individually in this together because we was born with the same skin tone. Unlike them, they go in there and they have to be a part of something because their leadership says so. This dude could have never been a gang member on the street, but now he has to start thinking like a gang member because he's in prison. That's why so many of them go bad, because you're forcing somebody to be a part of some shit that they don't necessarily want to be a part of. A motherfucker signed up to be from his hood, he go to jail, and now he got to answer to a whole different collective. That's why they keep going bad. And a lot of them don't even agree with those rules. They just have to do it. Yeah, they'll go in there and put in work and they'll do what they got to do to survive. But when they get out, they don't be giving a fuck about that shit. Prime example, look at Lefty Gunplay. He's viral right now. Every interview, he's telling you, I love black people. I love Crips. I love Bloods. You think he could say that if he was on the yard? No, but he can in the free world. You know how many Southsiders feel exactly like him? You know how many Southsiders want to smoke and drink with blacks? They can't in there, but they can on the street. So don't come at me and be like, oh, we can't. Your grown ass telling me you can't. Yeah, you can't. That don't mean you don't want to. There's a difference. If they had a chance to change some of them rules, 9 times out of 10, they would change a lot of them rules, but they can't because they're set in stone. So let's stop acting like somebody is more gangster or more superior because they can't do some shit that a grown man should be able to do. I'm tired of that shit. I'm tired of this narrative, homie. I'm tired of this narrative that like we watered down and they superior. Ain't nobody superior to the black man. And that's how I feel. I don't give a fuck who get mad. Straight up, homie. I'm tired of that shit, homie. Every time I look on somebody's channel, they always trying to downplay us, homie. I give motherfuckers they props, but they stay trying to downplay us. Always talking about who they took off on and who got smashed. Nigga, if we was getting smashed and took off on left and right, come on, bro. We wouldn't have nothing in there. We wouldn't even be able to be on the same yard as them. Some of them other factions, not because they soft, the CDC seen the numbers wasn't in their favor and start putting them on different yards. But you know who they gonna put on the yard with the Southsiders all the time? The blacks. So how is anybody taking anything or smashing us? Think. It's a narrative that's been painted that's bullshit. Motherfuckers be way deeper. I don't care what nobody say. Be way deeper. Have to work out. And have to have a knife to compete. Like I said, I don't give a fuck who take offense to this. Because I got love for everybody, homie. Ain't a racist bone in my body. I didn't cop backlash from my people. And motherfuckers keep throwing jabs our way, bro. Everybody is different. Everybody has a different opinion. Just like the dude Damien. He just told the story about when the dude Yogi, ex-BGF, got hit. The reason why it wasn't a response like that is because a lot of the blacks was like, he's a convicted rapist. Now you could say, now why was he on the yard? Because he's an old man. And nobody tripping off him. And some people believe that he was framed, like a lot of our people was in them times in the 50s and 60s, framed. But some people was like, he a rapist, nigga. We not jumping for him. So how could you sit up there and say that that's not our politics? Everybody be feeling different. This is why our responses be like that, because everybody is allowed to have an opinion. You know how delayed your response will be if you was allowed to have a fucking opinion, but you're not. You have to do it. If you actually had an opinion that counted, y'all wouldn't be all on the same page either. Now let's get back to these 50-50 yards. Some people feel different ways. In my hood, it's not acceptable, homie. There is some homies that have came home from 50-50 yards. I'm not going to sit up here and say that. 9 times out of 10, they out the way. They pop up every blue moon. It ain't no problem, but they not out here pressing lines, orchestrating DPs and trying to be in the mix and call shots. You can't come and be tough in the hood. You wasn't tough on that yard. You wasn't tough on them niggas with that bad paperwork. You probably exchanged information and planned to hook up with a nigga that got bad paperwork because you was on that yard mingling, spreading, playing games with motherfuckers. Because you ain't check his paperwork, because that's not what's going on that yard. You want to come home. You want to do your time and come home. So do your time and come home and get back to your family. Don't do your time and come home and try to be back in the mix. There's a few homies who have made that mistake, who went to a 50-50 yard and they came home and they fucked up, and now they facing crimes that's going to put them on a 4, at least a 3, but 9 times out of 10, a 4. And guess what? They got an answer to that because there's homies on that 4 that's not accepting that. So don't sit up here and say that's not the blacks' politics. You don't know the blacks' politics because the blacks' politics vary from individual to individual, from set to set. It's not all around. Some niggas tripping, some niggas ain't, but you can't just say the blacks ain't tripping as a whole. That's a motherfucking lie. This is why Bam and my boy Bride Dog and Gangsta and all these older blacks keep saying, stop talking about black politics. Because you really don't know. It varies. It's hit or miss. It depends. But you can't make a general statement like that and say, that ain't the blacks' politics. They don't care. Some niggas do care. I got a homie right now, I'm not even going to say his name. I got a homie right now that did time, a lot of time. Before he got out, somebody came to the level 4 who was on the 50-50 yard and they whooped him. And the homie broke his shit. So now the homie is out. But he's still going to court for that charge. After all them years on the level 4, still put in work because the nigga came from a 50-50 yard. So for you to sit up there and say that that ain't our politics when I got a homie facing consequences for putting in work on a nigga who came from a 50-50 yard is bullshit. Stop speaking on our shit if you don't know. That go for anybody, homie. I'm out.